you know, drifting off and getting
We're
away from
going to
that.
keep going over it, and I'm going to keep twisting your words to remind everybody
Oh
we
my
don't owe
God.
white people. We do not owe white people shit.
Is a place.
I run the risk, and it's not my channel, so I will just drop this fucking link.
Just curious, you know who's your
hand me the whoop-de-wop.
Well, I know it's an Indiana thing.
You got some
but
money?
do you know what
We're
a
going
Hoosier
to the
is?
whoop-de-wop.
I actually don't.
Okay. Got something to do with things.
Throw some cool
And
whoop-de-wops.
from a Hoosier, you're going to get certain things that are going to happen. And
Well, I do
walk
know
out,
at one
come
point
stove, go
Indiana
grab that
was
shit
like
right
the
quick.
center of the
She
clan.
was like, cool. And she already know to get my dough. So,
Mexican Americans are the second largest ethnic minority in the United States. Some, like the Hispano land heirs of New Mexico, had been living there for hundreds of years, scores of years before the landing of the Mayflower. Others joined the steady stream of migrants across the Rio Grande from Mexico every day. The group is the youngest and fastest growing ethnic population in the nation. Traditionally, Mexican Americans have been agricultural workers, campesinos, for the most part, a gentle, lovable people. There was little need to change their language and culture, but recently the impact of technology and a changing economy has subjected the community to massive political and social dislocation. Within a relatively short period, thousands have trekked to the cities, bringing with them all the disadvantages of a traditionally rural people: lack of education, a foreign language. The Black Revolution, with its high drama, both inspired and somewhat obscured the more localized protests of Mexican-American groups. They are now demanding the rights of citizenship and full participation in the economic, political, and social life of this country. Regardless of the disparity of issues they are faced with, or their style of protest, all emerging leaders speak of La Raza, or the race, an almost mystical nationalistic concept that unites all Spanish-speaking people, whether they be called Latinos or Hispanos or Mexicanos.
¡Que vivan los Black Berets por la justicia! ¡Que viva!
In the larger cities under the banner of La Raza Unida, they picket and boycott and march to make their voices heard.
The Mexican people who've come to this country have been the very poorest of the poor of Mexico. And in these 50 years, they have had no choice but to work in the lowest income brackets of the economy. They've been on the low spot of the totem pole economically and socially during these 50 years. These have been poor people from the very beginning, and they still are. There is very little capital formation in the Mexican community. They don't own industries. They have practically no stake in the economy. They don't live off capital. They live by, still, as they always have traditionally, by the sweat of their brow and by their brain power and by their daily toil. This is the kind of a population it is.
A Mexican American is 7 times more likely than an Anglo or white to live in a substandard house. The chance that his baby will be born dead are twice as great. The unemployment rate is 2 times that of Anglos, and of those employed, the vast majority, almost 80%, work at unskilled, low-paying jobs. 40% or more are considered functionally illiterate, and many live in the apathy and despair bred by poverty.
Some of our boys and girls have never been outside of the town of Beeville. Have never been as far as Corpus Christi, which is only 60 miles away. They don't know what a park is or what a lake is. They don't know what it means to go boating or fishing, things like this. And of course, in anybody's life, this is a handicap.
The average education for a male, or for an adult, Mexican American, 25 years or better. Average education is 2.1 years of school in this area.
The rich help their mother with the in the past, it was just generally assumed by the Anglo community that that Mexicans don't need to go to school because why the hell do you have to go to school to pick onions? Any education was actually actively discouraged in rural school systems.
Clean the house. These are refugees. They're not refugees from Mexico, they're refugees from displacement and from economic exploitation in the rural areas. And they've come to the cities to look for work. What's happening to the Mexicans psychologically is that having been relegated, having been cut out from a decent education and from participation in the economy and from consideration as human beings, they are now groping for an ideology that will, first of all, make them feel important, make them feel dignified, make them feel worthy.
The search for an ideology coincides with a search by youthful Mexican-American individuals for an identity in the spectrum of American protest. Rudolfo Coqui Gonzalez, an ex-boxer turned civil rights activist in Denver, Colorado, answers that need by digging deep into the past. Last year he founded El Centro de la Cruzada, a self-help community based dedicated to a cultural renaissance for the Mexican-American.
This is our symbol. It's an Indian mother, a Spanish father, and a cat with a mustache facing it. On one side of us, we predate Plymouth Rock 20,000 years. On the other side, 300. Yet we're told to identify with what's coming from the eastern seaboard. But again, you say, well, that's past. It has nothing to do with us today. Well, it has a lot to do with us today. It has a lot to do with us with the culture that our people have had is going to the graves with our old people. So that we have to start relating to who and what we are. It's not alienation, it's movement, self-determination. The Japanese, they have no political power, so to speak, because they're small numbers, yet they have economic control of their life, and what they develop, it goes into the majority society, but the money comes back into rich new blood for themselves to develop their own people. You know, this is because they control their church, they control their social life, and their whole living together. And I don't hear anybody saying the Japanese are alienated, but the minute a few black people get together, they say, man, those guys are bad. When Mexicans start to get it, they say, well, gee, they might think I'm a bad guy. You know, the hell with what they think, because what they thought has created all the problems for the mass of our people. There wouldn't be any racism if his folks and his forefathers hadn't provoked it. There wouldn't be any discrimination if his forefathers hadn't provoked it and built upon it and created a status quo barrier to all other people. As we watch the black move, as we watch the radical Anglo move, and we say, you know, where are we going? And we've got it all right here. We don't have to go. We just have to preserve it and build it up. We have to defend it.
The poor whites buy it.
All right.
Because they're grasping at straw.
Well, welcome to Stanley versus the World, the evening edition. I happen to, again, I probably have one of the better algorithms out there. That little video popped up into my algorithm and kind of goes with kind of the main event of this evening's show. Much as I'd like to show this video, it'll have to wait. Today is another Sociology 119 class, and it happens to be called Mad About a Bunny, Latin American Influence in America. And then I guess they'll talk about the Super Bowl halftime show and Bad Bunny as well. But like I said, that video clip I showed was from the 1970s. I think it, more or less the mid or early 1970s. And what struck me is that literally you could take what that guy was talking about and put it, write it down and give it to one of these content creators we all tend to listen to every now and again about, why do the Japanese, why are they able to be economically successful, etc. And I don't know. I guess my number one point is some of these themes that we hear day in and day out um, in this blackosphere have been around since, probably since slavery. And for the Mexicans, probably before, you know, uh, before some of these states along the southern border were even that populated. California, California especially, that whole El Norte region, part of Texas, the western part of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, up into Colorado, I guess, and Nevada. Just interesting places to be. And as I said, the same themes over and over and over. I don't know why we think, today is anything particularly new under the sun. But anyway, we'll the sociology class from Penn State has already started. We'll just join it a little bit time late because I wanted to start at the beginning. So here we go. I guess I'll skip ahead a little bit.
The bad news is it's next Thursday and it's 24 questions. The good news is that you get it out of the way, and at the end of the semester, the third exam is only 18 questions. So you'll be golden. But this is about 5 hours of preparation, and here's what's up. The readings and the videos are up right now, but you see how it works, right? You see that you don't want to. Wait, hang on. Yo, laptops, bro. Laptops. You see that you don't want to get started too early. Julie and I went through this next quiz and the next exam, and we made it as straightforward as we possibly could. So you do what you need to do, you'll be all right. You know what's ahead, so you'll do much. On average, the class average is going to go up a fair amount. Hey, I still see a few laptops. Bro, you can shut yours all the way too, because you won't. Okay, you got that? So it's a week from Thursday, so be ready. The second thing is, after next week, these 2 weeks, the 28th and 30th and the 4th and the 6th, I'm not going to be in town. I'm going to be over in South Korea. So you you don't need to come to class. You can watch the class from anywhere you want to watch it during regular class hours. We're going to stream 4 different classes, like best of Social 119 kind of classes. So we'll stream them at the regular class time. Okay? So this is important. So you just assume you're coming to class, and right afterwards, you assume that everything is normal. And right afterwards, you're going to take an exam, a quiz on Canvas. That's how you're going to do attendance. And if you don't watch the class, obviously, you won't be able to take the quiz. Or you can take it, but you'll guess on it. So here's what some of you might be thinking. This is great, man. I'll just take it 4 days. I got 4 friends. One of us just has to watch the class, and we can tell our friends the answers to the quiz. You can do that. However, what you need to know is there's a test bank. on each of these days, meaning that we've written about 15 questions. So everybody's going to get a different mix of questions. And so you can just tell your friends what your questions were, but they're going to have different questions. Maybe they have one that's the same, but mostly test bank is big enough that you're going to have different questions. So, is that clear? And the reason we're doing that is because we don't want to bring bad karma onto you and have you try to cheat the system, because that just brings all this energy and negativity on you, and you know, you don't want to have that. So we're just trying to save you from all of that. You're going to get an email. You'll get a couple emails with all the information, but you know, you'll go to where the live stream is. You can go on YouTube. You can get there from the Social 19 website, etc. Okay, got it? So now, if someone wants to come to class and fire up this projector and watch it in here, you can do that. That's fine, but Nisha's not going to be here. So for me, I'd rather be sitting at home. Yeah, you can't. You could figure it out, but yeah, you don't want to stay home. Hey, listen, on another note, or are we good on that? Is everyone clear? I'll announce it again, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay. All right, man. This is best title of the semester, by the way. I know I say that every day, but this one really is the best title. Hey, and with that in mind, can you two bring your phones up here? Hey, so we're doing a class on Bad Bunny, and we need one more volunteer, and like ideally a woman. We got two guys. We've had a lot of guys recently. So, who feels like, oh yeah, I want to talk about Bad Bunny? You want to do Bad Bunny? All right, come on. Okay, let's do the quiz, and then we'll start class. You have your phone, right? Wait, guys, do the quiz first. Okay. Funny. I could have called the class Mad About a Rabbit, but you know. Yeah, it's the same.
Well, I guess I could skip through this also.
Okay. Emails are going out for block 2. And tomorrow or the next day, it doesn't matter. They're going out. Watch for them. All right, man. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Mad About a Bunny. It's a good title, right? All right, man. Let's start. Just introduce yourself and.
Hi, my name is Nick Hill. I'm graduating this semester with a degree in math, and I'm from Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
Yo, and you have a bunny on your shirt, by the way. Perfect.
Hi, I'm Carlos Alamán. I am a junior and an econ major, and I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
Wait, and you're not a Bad Bunny fan? Wait, your dad is? Wait, hang on, use the microphone.
My dad, he loves Bad Bunny. Especially, there's this recent ad that Bad Bunny was on promoting underwear. He loved it. He's a Bad Bunny guy.
Oh, man, awesome. And Nikhil, you're not a Bad Bunny fan?
I've never even, I didn't hear about him before Super Bowl announcement.
Okay, all right.
Hi, my name is Megan. I'm an international politics and public relations major, and I'm a junior. And I love Bad Bunny. So
And you, what's your ancestry?
I'm Mexican.
You're Mexican and you love Bad Bunny. What is it about Bad Bunny that you like?
He's a very big advocate for the Hispanic community,
Uh-huh.
and because of that, we really align with
Hold the mic close. Yeah.
And because of that, we really feel represented from him. And also, like, he is, I think, he was the #1 or #2 artist, so he's also just insanely popular.
Uh-huh. Okay. And what? And wait, who is he though? Who? I mean, for people who don't know who he is, beyond what you just said.
Okay.
Where's he? Where's he from?
Okay.
Just kind of.
Yes. Bad Bunny is from Puerto Rico. He recently just like blew up like the most, I think, in like the past, I would say like 5 years, but he's been doing what he does for a while. He makes a lot of, really popular Hispanic music, like reggaeton, pop, trap. He makes a lot of, and salsa. I think he had the largest, like the most played salsa album in like the last like couple decades, and it reached #1 on Spotify. So yeah, like his music resonates with a lot of people, like within the Hispanic community and also like outside of it.
And what do you know about what would your dad say about Bad Bunny? We should have your dad down here, you bro.
Well, he does work at Pollock Dining, so he's nearby. But right now, what he'd say about Bad Bunny is that he loves him. Kind of puts Puerto Rico on a stage, or puts Puerto Rico on the map, and that his music is great. Kind of makes the genre of, like she said, reggaeton, salsa more popular for worldwide listeners.
And also like Latin trap, right? Is a big.
Yeah.
You know what trap music? Do you all know what trap music? Trap is like that. The hi-hat, the really fast hi-hat, you build your beats around that. I'm a drummer, so I'm always listening to beats like da-da-da-da-da-da, and then a really low bass, like boom. Which I'm not a big fan of trap music. I mean, I am to a certain.
Well, I won't be learning about Bad Bunny any more than this class will teach me. That's for sure.
That's kind of how he started to really cut his teeth a lot. Do you have a question? Like you heard about him when the Super Bowl thing blew up. Wait, hang on. Before we go there, can you go to the next slide? I want to show you this. You said he blew up recently. He actually blew up 2019. These are most streamed artists on Spotify. So in 2019, he was 5th, which is a pretty big deal on Spotify. And look, then he's number one. And in 2023, oh my God, he lost his placement to none other than Taylor Swift. And 24, he dropped to 3rd. But he's been in the top 5, and this year he's killing it too. This year he's rocking. So who knows where he'll be this year? Maybe he'll be back to #1. But the idea, and 80 million Spotify listeners, which is, dude, just to give you. I mean, you can't even. Dude, 43 billion views. And 51 million subs on YouTube. We have, just to put some context to that, Social 19 has 405 or 6,000 subs, which is a lot. So think about 51 million subs. Oh my God, man. And the most music videos with 1 billion views. So this guy is like this guy is big. So bro, it's about time you learn something about. What would you want to know about him?
I can't think of anything. I guess I'd want to know about him. Maybe you can play some of his music on the speaker.
What do you think the controversy is about? You heard about the Super Bowl thing. Did you hear there's a controversy?
I heard there's a controversy, and like I don't really know a lot of what it's about, to be honest.
Are you curious?
Yeah, I guess I'm curious, but I also think it's probably kind of blown up beyond proportion a little bit.
It's blown up beyond proportion. Okay, well, it's good that you're volunteering, because I'm gonna come back to you to assess this. Can one of you talk about the controversy? What's the? You just leave it.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of the controversy, especially on TikTok, and I think on some like some news sources, like a lot of people say that he's not representative of the United States. And like also what we're seeing lately is like a really big like anti-immigration sentiment. And something I've even seen on TikTok is like that like some people don't even realize that Puerto Rico is like a territory of the United States and like they're anti-immigration, but Puerto Ricans are citizens, which I think is also really interesting. But yeah, like I don't know. I think the whole argument of it's not being like representative is kind of like invalid because like we have like last year we had like I think last year for the Super Bowl we had Kendrick Lamar do his performance, and his like a lot of his music is like about the struggles of being a man of color, and like people were like somewhat upset about it, but I think people are really blowing like Bad Bunny out of proportion.
They're really
because
upset.
They're really
Bad
upset
Bunny.
about it. Yeah.
Hey, can we go to the? Hey, Izzy, can you just blacken the screen and then go to that one slide toward the end about Puerto Rico? Can you go there and put that up? I just want to show you this since you said what you said about Puerto Rico. Yeah. So, yeah, self-governing. So I put this together, right? So you can get a sense. Self-governing territory, right? U.S. citizens. So you get a passport. You can go travel back and forth. You can vote in the presidential elections. You can't vote in the primaries. You select there's a governor in Puerto Rico. But a representative in the U.S. House, but a non-voting representative. So it doesn't have very much power, but nonetheless, and you pay taxes. Puerto Ricans pay taxes. So, here's the thing. So it's kind of so what you're saying is it's kind of interesting. Yeah, you can. So being able to vote in the presidential primary, just not the election, really says something. Okay, so go ahead. So the idea that you have this idea that things have blown up, and you think it might have something to do with something more than just him being a named Rabbit.
Yeah, I think it's just because of like the recent like shift that we've had towards like being so anti-immigrant, at least like from the media, like that's really being pushed. And like Chicago, for example, like we're seeing a lot of anti-immigration sentiment, and some people are projecting it onto Bad Bunny, like, and as I mentioned before, which is kind of ridiculous because he is a citizen, but he does advocate for a lot of Hispanic issues, and I think people are also kind of like like mixing that in with ICE and
well,
all that.
as happens a lot with these issues, right? People, a lot of stuff comes together, and then things become a flashpoint, so an opportunity to really push something forward. Carlos, how about you? Like, what would you add to that from your perspective?
I'll say I agree with her that it's ridiculous that people are making a big fuss about a Super Bowl halftime show. And I also found it very amusing how Turning Point USA is going to have their own halftime show in revolt of the Bad Bunny halftime show. And I'm just like, he's an American citizen, so what's the problem? But I think it's because
So you're thinking that. Are other people in your friend group thinking that? Is this a thing that just Latinos are thinking? You're not thinking it because you don't even know who the guy is. But are other people in your friend group, your peer group, thinking that? What you're saying?
No, they don't. I mean, the friends that I have, no, they don't really care much about like the halftime show. So I mean, I don't really watch the halftime show either. I mean, it's just there to attract as many people to watch the Super Bowl. And I love football, I'm a Bills fan. Sucks to lose 4 Super Bowls, but yeah, it's just like there to garner attention. And I don't think much of it, but the fact that people are putting more, I guess, anger into it is just nonsense.
All right, it's okay. I'm going to say, so you think it's nonsense. For me, I think it's interesting, right? So, like, wow, why this of all things? But I want to go a little deeper. We're going to have people ask some questions because people have reasons for their strong feelings about Bad Bunny. So I'm going to make sure you get a chance to respond to some of the questions.
I would like to add something real quick, and I think it's because like most of his music is in Spanish. So I think that's why like people are upset because they won't be able to understand what he's saying since he doesn't like his music is not in English. So I mean, I guess I kind of get it. Like I want like an English singer, but it's just like
Yeah, but you so much.
If I could just
music
jump in.
You can't understand anyway. So, but anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
No one had this much of an issue when Shakira or J-Lo were singing in Spanish or Hips Don't Lie.
In Arabic, man.
And in Arabic.
Shakira
And
was singing in Arabic too.
So I don't know. I just think it's interesting that they're getting this upset now, given everything that's recently happened.
So you have the idea that this is a big divisive issue, and then he's a divisive person, kind of like a lightning rod, just largely because of where we're at in this point in the history of the country.
Something else I would like to add is like he made it a point to not tour in the United States because of fear that would be a hotspot for immigration ICE officers.
Okay.
And that's why he's only doing the one, like Super Bowl. But I mean, in response to that, I think a news source, ICE said that there was going to be a lot of officers at the Super Bowl, which I think is kind of interesting because, like, I mean, who has $10,000 to pay to go to the Super Bowl and is undocumented, you know?
Yeah, they're not going to be at the Super Bowl. But so here's another thing then. So what I hear you saying is that he very directly responded to this movement to find and deport people who are undocumented, who are here illegally, okay? And so he directly responded to that, saying, hey, I don't support this, I'm not for this, and I want to support people, I want to help people, and who might be in this position, so like don't come and don't run the risk of. So essentially what he's saying is, continue breaking the law and don't come to my concerts where you might get caught. That's kind of what he's saying.
I think he's doing it in protest.
Yeah,
just to show unity, I would say.
No, I got that. But indirectly, if you are a person who says, hey, I think this movement toward finding and deporting undocumented people is really, really important, and I think we should continue to seek people out and deport them, then Bad Bunny is not your friend. He's your enemy, really, because Bad Bunny is saying, hey, I don't support this, and I think you ought to be like, okay. Do you see that, right? But this is important. By the way, do you see what I just did there, right? Like you see, that's seeing another side, and that's seeing another side of saying like, wow, how could people be so upset about Bad Bunny? Well, I just gave you one really strong reason, man, because of what I just said. So like, oh, okay, that makes sense. McHugh, what do you think about what you just heard? What are you thinking? You don't really know much about Bad Bunny. It just as a person who, like, here you are. What comes to mind? What are you hearing?
So, I mean, like you mentioned, like how, yeah, it's only a big deal right now because of, I guess, broader national events that are happening. I was just like thinking like, yeah, no one had a problem with like Kendrick Lamar, going last year. But I wonder if like this was happening, if he had went in like 2021 or something during like the George Floyd when that was a bigger issue in the media, if it would also have caused a big bust.
Right. If people would have, so at the Super Bowl, if they would have brought somebody on who was arguing or making a point to say defund the police, Black Lives Matter, defund the police, and one thing after another, what would that have caused a big uproar? Yeah, I'm thinking probably, well, it would have for some people, but maybe because of what you're saying, that we're at a different period in time, that, yeah, this is a little bit different. So we weren't in that place with defund the police and Black Lives. It's like the side, the people who made the argument that blue lives matter, not white lives matter, blue lives matter, didn't have as much power as people right now who are making a big deal over the Super Bowl issue. They have a lot of power. Trump has empowered, Donald Trump, President Trump has empowered a lot of people to speak up with an alternative perspective. So that's why this becomes a big issue. What do the two of you think about that? Because both of you are sort of like, yeah, this is. What do you think about what I just said?
Yeah, I agree that we are currently in different times. So I think if Bad Bunny performed, let's just say in 2021 when, he was very popular, I don't think anyone would have thought much about it. But I think since Donald Trump is president, people will be more open to voice their opinion on such an artist. And yeah, I mean, I guess it does make sense on why people would be more upset that Bad Bunny is performing this halftime show at the Super Bowl.
How do you feel about that? As this guy, wait, you're half Mexican, half Puerto Rican?
Puerto Rican, yes.
Yeah. Because I'm just out of curiosity, how do you, as a young American college student, think about that? Yeah, Donald Trump's president, and so these are different times, and so here we are.
Well, I think that, we're gonna have to live with it and whatever. We'll move on. It's unfortunate, but Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, so it's just like Bad Bunny is an American artist is performing in the halftime show. I see no problem with that. So, how much can you complain about it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, what do you think? Yeah, by the way, so you should know, all of you and anybody, I'm just thinking through this, right? I'm just really curious about, and we're going to take some questions or some comments. What do you think the purpose of the Super Bowl performance is, by the way? How do they pick? I'm going to ask you, Nikhil. How do they pick people? What's your gut feeling?
To appeal to the broadest audience of people who are not football fans normally. They just tune in for the halftime show and nothing else.
And when you say the broadest audience, who are you going to pick?
I mean, well, I don't know. So I wonder if the NFL is trying to, and obviously I feel like they have a pretty good grasp on America. I wonder if they're trying to go more appeal more to maybe the Latin American world, right? They're promoting Bad Bunny now.
Why would they do that?
What do you mean?
Yeah, why do you think they
more money, right? If you have a bigger audience.
Yeah, all right, more money. It's about money, right? The whole thing, everything's about money. Penn State football, firing James Franklin, hiring James Franklin, hiring him for a guaranteed $50 million. One thing after another. It's about money. So the halftime show at the football game, nobody gets paid. He's not getting paid. It's the most prestigious, largest performance that anybody can do that is unpaid. So it's all about money. So Bad Bunny is chosen because people with a lot of power and a lot of connections and a lot of vision have this idea that this guy, can you go back a slide? That this guy here, see all those red circles? That guy can make us a lot of money. So, okay. So if you're arguing against that in some way, you're arguing against the visionaries who choose the halftime performance based on money and profit. Because that's what they're trying to do, make money and profit. Because that's this capitalist system and that's the nature of it. Hey, can you go one more? Okay. Hey, who's the most followed artist on Spotify?
Taylor Swift.
What's that?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, you think? What do you guys think?
I'm stuck. Either Drake or Taylor Swift.
Nikhil, who do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Taylor Swift.
It's not Taylor Swift. Nikhil, I guarantee you know who this person is.
It's a very good chance I don't.
Well, I don't know, Mel. Anybody know? Anyone have any idea? If you know, if anyone knows and hasn't looked it up, I'll give you 5 bonus points. Anyone have it? Do you know? What's that?
Boy, where is everybody today?
It's not an
Guess they're
American
all over at
at all.
CT's.
This is the thing. You got to think. Bro, did you look it up on your phone? All right, who is it?
Is it that Indian rapper like City Musa?
No.
It's not him. Damn.
No. Are there any international students from India here? Dude. All right, man. Bro, you know who it is? All right, go to the next slide. This guy, by far, he's got like 150 million subs, or 160 or something. And then he's far ahead. I mean, like, this is the thing. Well, I think that the reason I put that up there is because this is like when BTS blew onto the scene. And I remember, like 7, 8 years ago, I was talking about BTS. I'm like, BTS is going to be the most popular group in the world. And that's just the nature of it. And because you got to think about the rest of the world. And the Bad Bunny thing, like when Nikhil just said, it's like, look, they're thinking about profit. They're thinking about viewers. They're thinking about all sorts of things. They, meaning the people that are making these decisions, they're thinking about things that you're not thinking about if you're only looking at the world right around you. You got to be stepping outside yourself, and you got to see the world from all these different perspectives. Like a week from now, I'm going to be in Korea. When I'm in Korea, I'm on the other side of the planet. And when I'm on the other side of the planet, in this nation of 51 million people, I'm seeing a very, very, very different world than I see here. And it's a very different understanding about how the world is unfolding compared to how we see it here. When you go to the Middle East, when you go to Europe, when you go to Latin America, when you go to West Africa, wherever you go, you just see it differently. And so, man, it's kind of wild how we can... Very few people would know that this guy's the most followed artist. Okay, so listen. Who do you think people who don't want Bad Bunny to play in the Super Bowl, who do you think, or play at the halftime show, who do you think they'd want to see play?
Morgan Wallen.
Or Lee Greenwood. Did somebody propose Lee Greenwood? Wait, who's Turning Point gonna? Who did they say who their artist is gonna be?
I don't think so, but I could see it being Morgan Wallen.
Yeah. Oh, so he's pretty popular. Not in Latin America. Not around the world. Bad Bunny's popular all over the world, right? And you know what that does is that puts the eyes on things in a very different kind of way. So, like, let's think about this.
I think for this Super Bowl halftime show, the NFL tried to get Taylor Swift to perform, but I don't think she did it because they weren't going to pay her.
No.
Am I wrong?
She said, no, she's not going to want to get paid.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, she's famous enough for
She
it.
said when her boyfriend, future husband, is no longer playing, that she will perform.
Fair.
I'm sure she'll perform. That's what I heard anyway, but she'll definitely perform. Hey, let me just show you. I'm going to walk through a few things. You mentioned language, right? Can you say, can you say more about speaking Spanish? Like, how do you think that plays into that? Bad Bunny sings, he performs in Spanish. He sings and he raps in Spanish. Only, not English?
I think he had. Wait, I'm trying to think. I think that the most English he ever did was like one title of one of his songs was in English.
He speaks English though.
Yeah, he speaks a decent amount.
But he just doesn't. Is there a reason he doesn't speak English? Or perform in English, has he said?
I think Puerto Rico is a very like it's a very central part of his identity. It is something that defines him, and all of his music basically surrounds around Puerto Rico. So because of that, I think that's why he chooses to sing in Spanish, because it's something that's so undeniable about him that he just refuses to accommodate his culture to anyone else.
And what do you think about that?
I agree with that to an extent, and I mean, he has a huge amount of engagement, so clearly a lot of people also agree with it.
Yeah, what's the reason to not do that? You know, somebody asked me recently over in Korea, I was doing an interview, and they said, what do you think about Korean artists at some point in time? Do they need to start singing, these K-pop groups and so on, do they need to start singing in more often in other languages? And I'm like, no, why would you do that? You know, well, to attract more people. I'm like, no, people are attracted already. Like, there's no need. It's part of the musical genre. It's part of what emerges out of the music. I mean, just speaking Korean.
There are also just some things that don't translate. Like, there are some things that are so inherently Hispanic and so inherently like Spanish. They are inherent to our language that, like, even if you try to translate it, it just won't even work. It won't have the same sentiment.
Yeah. I was listening to a Maná song the other day, and I translated it into English. Do you listen to Maná? You know Maná. Okay, so the song was Sábanas Frías, and I just was like, oh, cold sheets it is, right? And I just said, let me see. I know what it means in Spanish, right? But I said, let me just see what it is in English. And it just didn't do it, right? It just didn't do it. Huh. Right, let me show you a couple things here. First off, let's go, I'm going to walk through some slides, okay? I'm just going to walk around, I'm going to talk about these slides, and then I'm going to have you all comment on them. You can look that way, or you can look straight up at the top. You can also look up that way if it's easier for you. So listen, first off, I'm trying to I just want to situate Spanish speaking into North America, into the United States a little bit, okay? So when the United States became a nation, this is the map. So all of the red and the red is Spanish controlled, and the pink is Spanish control, but more influence than anything else. Okay? So this is the Spanish Empire. Like, this is it. Go to the next slide. And then in 1835, see all that pink on the left there? That's all part of Mexico. Everybody's speaking Spanish there. And in many parts of the green and many parts of the yellow on the upper left, people are speaking Spanish. So this is 1835. So in a way, when you think about Mexico, Mexicans aren't really crossing over the border when they come here. The border crossed over them a long time ago. And so, this, okay, it's not a big deal. Doesn't mean that we should speak Spanish here and that it should be our second language or anything like that. It just means, think about this. It's kind of interesting. Okay, go to the next slide. 44 million people in the U.S. speak Spanish. Like 44 million people, y'all, right? It's not like 4 million, it's not 14 million, it's 44 million. And in many parts of the United States, Spanish is the second language. So you're from Florida, right, Sarasota?
Yeah, I'm from Sarasota. I've lived there for the past 10 years, and I've gone to Miami a couple times, and it feels like I'm in a new country sometimes.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you really feel that. We talked about it a little bit last class, but it's like 44 million people. So now I want you to think about, these are 44 million Americans. These aren't people who are less American because they speak Spanish, the vast majority in addition to English, but there's 44 million Americans. And so, Bad Bunny is speaking or singing and performing in Spanish. He's at the just here. If he were not even talking about Latin America, he's at least reaching 44 million Americans. That's a lot of people. It's so significant. Go to the next slide. So here, look at this. I'm going to try to see if I can explain this to you. You have the. I should use this one, right? So look here. Let me explain what this is. So this is the U.S. population. The yellow is the Hispanic or Latino population. This is 2020. 2020, 2060, 2020, 2060. This is under the age of 18, these two. And this is over the 65 and older, here. Okay, so look, 26% of the U.S. population under the age of 18 in 2020 was Hispanic or Latino. But in 2060, that's going to rise to 32%. 32%, that's almost a third of young people under the age of 18 will be Hispanic or Latino. And over the age of 65, it's 9% in 2020, but it's going to be 21% in 2060. Meaning that Hispanics, Latino, you all are a significant part of the population of the United States, okay? Which is, all right, let's think about that. That's big. And this is a multicultural nation, so people are going to hang on to their culture to differing degrees. And so here, go to the next slide. So this is from Pew Research. It is blank important that future generations of Latinos speak Spanish. So it's either extremely important, very important, or somewhat important. And overall, 85% of Latinos, of Hispanic people in the United States say it is at least somewhat important that we, people who are like me, of my ethnicity and culture, speak Spanish. But here's the thing, man. Usually what happens is these are your parents here, right? Born. And then second generation is like among just U.S. born. Second generation would be like people like you. People like you, right? Wait, were you born in Mexico?
No, my mom was.
Your mom was? Okay, so people like you, you're second generation. And look, it's still 84%. 84%. And then third generation, when the two of you have kids, your kids are going to be saying, well, it's at least somewhat important that we, the kids, speak Spanish. Meaning, and what that means is that Hispanics and Latinos who speak Spanish feel like it's really important to our identity, this Bad Bunny, right? That we speak Spanish, that it's very much a part of who we are. Indians don't have that. You don't have that here in the United States, right? Do you know, what language do your parents speak?
So both my parents are from Kerala. So they speak Malayalam, but they also speak Hindi, because I guess everyone speaks Hindi. But I don't know anything.
You speak Hindi?
I don't know anything.
Yeah, nothing at all? Yeah, because it's not important. And it's not important to your parents. For some Indian parents it is, right? But the vast majority, it's not. It's not that important. You're not going to see these kinds of numbers. And especially for third generation. Man, this would be like, dude, if you had kids, your kids are going to be like, speaking Hindi, let's just stick with Hindi. Hindi is absolutely unimportant to who I am as a human being, right? And here, look, man. Okay? So,
Professor, could I just comment on that slightly, because I feel like I kind of have to?
Yeah.
As a member of the Indian community, if that's ever a thing, I feel like it's always almost the opposite. I mean, I think most of us who come here abroad to settle down or settle on, especially earlier, if you're like a first generation, you feel a very strong sense of self speaking your native language.
Yeah.
India is not like other countries where, like a volunteer said, we have a multitude of languages. Like in each different part, there are many different languages. Like I come from a state which is a neighbor to his, and we both speak two different languages.
Yeah, like in India, there are hundreds of languages being spoken, right? So it's a little bit different. But the one stable language that's woven for most people is Hindi. But nonetheless, right?
The reason I brought this up is because I feel like as
and English
pass on, and as maybe you get to a second or a third generation, it gets increasingly more difficult to find somebody who's from your particular part.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
from for other countries, maybe it's slightly easier because, I mean, for Spanish-speaking countries, they all speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're an Indian, you need to find your specific state specifically.
Yeah.
To kind of maybe feel a connection somewhat.
Yeah.
If you, as the generations go on, so
Yeah.
that's why it might be a bit more.
It's definitely one of the reasons.
More difficult.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's definitely one of the reasons. There are a lot of different ones, but that's a huge one. But the idea is, among Hispanics, among Latinos, speaking Spanish is really important and really valuable. So for you, when you think about listening to somebody, a performer like Bad Bunny speaking in Spanish, and you singing along in Spanish, do you feel less American? Less connected?
I would say I used to kind of struggle a lot with like my identity, and a lot of like first like or second gen like Hispanic people do, but like I very like now proudly identify as Mexican American. Like my culture is like very much Mexican, but it's also American, and I'm from Chicago, so it's also like a very like Hispanic area. I think it's the third largest population of Mexican immigrants. So I feel just like, I don't think I feel less American. I just feel more me, if that makes sense. Like I just feel like my culture is just unique.
So for you, not speaking English is not a divide between you and your sense of patriotism, your sense of allegiance to the flag or to the United States or to your.
No, I wouldn't say though. So at all.
I think that's something that people don't necessarily understand. Carlos, would you say it? Do you have anything on that?
I would actually say that I would feel, well, I don't listen to Bad Bunny music, but if I did, I think that I would feel more American nonetheless, because it just feels very, just feels very American to like accept someone for who they are, whether or not you like their music, as well as accept different cultures, people from different parts of the world, and I would feel more American if I listened to his music.
So when you engage with cultures that are not yours, here, while in the United States, it connects you to the multicultural sense of what the United States is as a nation.
Correct.
Nikhil, does that you connect with that at all? As an Indian American, do you consider yourself Indian American?
I mean, like, yeah, I consider myself an Indian American, but also like I would say, if you asked me to choose one, I'd say I'm American, not Indian. Yeah. I mean, actually, I don't know what they were actually like talking about, especially you saying, well, it makes me feel American. I was like, that made me start thinking about like, I guess like Bad Bunny's speaking in Spanish, like his lyrics, like, I mean, just because they're in Spanish, I don't really have a problem with like what is he saying though? Like, it's not like he's saying anything like anti.
Is anybody even out there? I see two people in the chat, and apparently everybody wants to be on the other show. So I'm going to wrap this up here. I don't see a reason to spend a lot of time if nobody or hardly anybody's here. I do see two people out there. So I will see everybody in the morning, probably around 7:45 or so Eastern time. And I may finish up with this to start the show, because there's probably about 20 or so minutes left, 20, 25 minutes left. So I'll see everybody in the morning.